Hello, friends from the comic book and manga world. My name is G, and I'm here to talk about the March 4th, 2024 FOC. I work for Penguin Random House, so the titles that you'll see today are those that can be sold around the world. And so I'll go ahead and get started here with my picks for this FOC, but then I'll end on some news that we have. Aside from this YouTube channel, we're also on Twitter X, Facebook, and Instagram at PRH International Comics, and I'll post links directly in the in the description box below so that you have access to them. So I'll go ahead and get started with my first pick, which is a really cool title. And this one is Nos and Zakuro, Volume 1. And this is set in Shadowsville, which is a supernatural land that kind of exists between the boundary of this world and the next world. And within this in between space, we have these spooky vampires who are not actually that spooky. We have beautiful Nos, who is basically Nosferatu, and her adopted daughter, Zakuro, who they don't suck blood, actually, as you can see on the cover image of the manga. They just, they have alternative means, like an equivalent that sustains them, and they drink out of juice boxes. They're really adorable and cute, sipping on their juice box on a couch. So it's just basically like them frolicking around town, doing some shopping, meeting up with some of their other monster buddies and supporting each other like as a real mother and daughter would. So this is like a really delightful, fun, comedic story about a mother and daughter relationship and their vampire lives. So really fun. This goes on sale on July 30th, but it's on this FOC as well. So, all right. And then I actually chose several because I didn't know what to choose. There's so much here. There's a lot, and I could barely cover just a little bit of, yeah, there's a lot of great titles on this FOC, and this one's no exception. So we have Bless Volume 1. This one, it's such an interesting story because it goes into the makeup and modeling industry. So it's informative in that way, but it really gets into the lives of these two characters. The first, Aya, who is scouted as a model, but really has a passion for makeup and has that ambition for it, but doesn't doesn't feel very self-confident in their abilities. So as high school approaches to like the end, like the high school career is approaching to the end, he has this dream, but he's just very afraid to of step out and actually pursue it, right? And he's just like known for this like very pretty and beautiful face, and is prescribed to that role and doesn't really step out of that image. Like there's more to this character than just a beautiful face. And he just really wants to do this thing, but is just not, again, not very confident in doing so. But then one day he meets this other character named June, who's very quiet, who like she hunches 'cause she doesn't want to show her face because she's ashamed of her face. But the only thing like, and she thinks that way because of the freckles that she has on her face. And he convinces her, Aya convinces her that they'll make to team up at this like school like runway fashion contest. And so they work together, and he's able to like express his passion for makeup by doing her makeup. And June herself is starting to discover her own self-confidence as well, by like doing this modeling contest and like opening herself up as well. They both open up to these experiences. So it's just it's so incredibly interesting, this story, because of the way that even though they're two different industry, two different passions, um, they attack it together in a way that is, how do I express it? They tackle it together in a way that opens us up opens them up to these opportunities, and, like, builds their confidence, in themselves, and it's such a great story in that way. You definitely should pick it up. Again, this is, Bless Volume 1. All right, and of course, I had to talk about Canto. Canto is now at Dark Horse, and for the first time, we're getting hardcover editions. And this one includes not only is it like a high quality hardcover with like new art, new cover art, but it also includes like an expansive cover gallery inside, as sketchbook and processes, like the sketch process sections within the book as well. And then there's going to be an introduction by legendary Stan Sakai at the beginning of this collection. So really excited for this. This is a volume 1. It collects the first series in this. And I've talked about this many times before. Love the story. I'm if you haven't if you don't know anything about it, I'll briefly say that it's this modern fairy tale about this tin man who is part of an enslaved race of tin people, and they're not allowed to have names, they're not allowed to care for each other, they're just basically supposed to be these walking machines. But then you have this main character who does have a name, and he does have emotions, he does feel, he can love, even though he's not allowed to. They're not allowed to. And in an effort to save the tin girl that he loves, he embarks on this journey as if he's a knight in a fairy tale trying to save a princess. He's trying to save his tin girl because her internal clock is running out of time. And in this world, these 10 people, their hearts are replaced by clocks. And there's a rumor that all of their not clocks, all of their hearts that were taken out of them are like put away somewhere. And, you know, because of that rumor, Kanto is seeking out these hearts to save his love from meeting her end. And it's just a very I just love this story so much. It draws you in so quickly within the first couple of pages. I will stop here because I can go off on this even more, but just wanted to say this is something that's definitely worth your time. I'm glad that we're getting some beautiful editions, hardcover editions out of this as well. So continuing on with some of my cover picks for this week is Venom issue number 32. I had to choose the Rose Besh variants. We have the version with the trade dress, and then the Virgin variant, which I didn't write it here, but it's actually a 1 in 100 ratio variant. It's just very beautifully done. I almost want this as like almost. I wish I wish this was like full size print poster to like put on my wall, or I just want it blown up so that I could like admire it, even like I could admire it on my wall. So this is definitely something that I would be picking up because it's a piece of artwork in itself. So love this cover. Had to include this, spotlight it for this week. And then another one that I wanted to mention, which also has a great cover. I chose this one, but there are other great variants for this title. We have Dudley Datsun and the Forever Machine. This is issue 1. Right here is the Rami Jones variant cover. But again, there are others that you should definitely take a look at. This one was originally on digital on Comixology, but now it's being printed for the first time. And this is written by Scott Snyder. And if you haven't checked it out, you should, or know if you know anything about it, or if you don't, just briefly, it starts with the question of Have you ever noticed that great figures in history just tend to have some sort of pet companion? Uh, and they're always have a tendency from running away from some sort of a mysterious threat. Well, if you ever wondered that, um, is very specific, but if you've ever wondered that, uh, such questions, um, if they ever cross your mind, definitely cross the mind of Dudley Datsun, who is a 15-year-old with a penchant for invention. Dastardly foes turn his world upside down, and he's gonna have to face something that goes beyond his imagination here in this modern day fable. This is really fun, coming out of Dark Horse, so definitely be sure if you haven't already put this on your pull list and pick this up for this FOC. And yeah. So that's it for my picks. Again, it's just a limited amount. There are so many other great titles on this FOC. But moving on to some piece of news, Square Enix did announce some titles. First of which I'm mentioning here is the My Happy Marriage art book, the anime that came out did so well. And so fans of the anime and also the manga would also want to pick up this art book. What's special about this art book that it also includes not only like gorgeous illustrations from the manga artists, but interspersed within the art book, there is exclusive short stories written by the series author, and like it also includes like what you would expect in an art book, like iconic, beautiful illustrations, which is very necessary because of how beautiful the art is in this series. And so this is like definitely for fans um, who want to pick up this very luxurious art book that we have here. And then the other two titles I wanted to mention here. First up is Always a Catch, Volume 1, How I Punched My Way into Marrying a Prince. I love these titles. This is a zany romantic comedy. It stars this daughter of a duke who grew up believing that one day she'll inherit her father's dukedom, but then his father, um, basically, baby brother comes into play, and that is now out of the question. She's not going to be the heir anymore because a baby boy has now arrived and appeared in her life, in her family's life, which means, oh, maybe I really have to think about my future, is what she was thinking. She's like, this, I've always thought about ruling this kingdom and never thought about marriage. And now I kind of have to think about it because of like the situation and time period that she's in, right? So, she's like, okay, is there any bachelors left for me to pick from? And so upon going to study abroad in a neighboring country, she's thinking, okay, maybe she'll stand a chance at getting hitched if she goes outside of her bubble. And she's really bewildered when this crown prince declares for everyone that the engagement to her is null and void, and she's like, "What engagement? Like, this doesn't make sense. I'm confused." And turns out he confused her with someone else, and so, you know, this mistake has happened, and once that is all cleared up, he just catches a second glance at her. And when he spots her beating up a band of bandits, because she's tough and mighty and strong, and she had to be, because if she wanted to rule a dukedom, which was her initial plan, she kept up on her martial arts training and such. And so he turns out he has a thing for for ladies who can fight their way through. So really fun, comedic, romantic story. So really excited for that title. And then what is really such great titles coming out of Square Enix. We have Dragon and the Chameleon Volume 1. This one really such a really unique concept, And the way that the art is done here is also very beautifully done in the sense where I should stepping back here. The premise is there's this best-selling manga artist who is praised as a genius for his craft, named Hanagami. And then we have this other character named Miyama, who is this bitter rookie who has a knack for copying other people's art styles. So we have like these two different individuals in the way that they do their craft, and an accident causes the both of them to switch bodies. So it's a body swapped story, and so Miyama is like really happy because he's like, I'm taking the place of this like well-renowned, well-respected genius in the industry. But then it forces the veteran artist to rebuild his career from the bottom up in the body of, this rookie. And so what is very interesting about the way that the art is done is that it really very much shows different art styles. One in which is very much done by an expert and a genius in his field versus the other art style. Not so, not so. I just say like clearly a rookie versus a veteran in the industry, so you can see the differences in the art styles in that way. So I love how the art the art also speaks to like it's the art style is very much entwined with the premise of the story, which is very cool. So I just had to talk about these titles to look out for when they do go on sale. And that's it for my picks and news for this week. As always, I very much enjoy doing this. I do this every week on a weekly basis, so definitely come back for more. Again, check us out at Peerage International Comics on social media, where you'll see our news and updates on there. And please comment down below. Let us know where you're excited for this week. So that's it for today. Bye, everyone.